No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You've got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Pow day.
Dude, let's go.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Bronco Nation? Welcome on into a live edition of Bronco Nation News Live here at Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com. My name is BJ Rains. We got Mike Prater. Prater, it's a Monday. It's raining. Finally going to get some good weather here at some point. Not today, though, but how we doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing, BJ?
I'm doing good, man. Back from Reno. Remind me to never fly into Reno again. That was forgot how fun the landings and takeoffs are coming into Reno, but we made it back. We're here, and should be another fun week. Big game on Wednesday, coming off a couple nice wins, and what a difference 7 days makes from this show we had last Monday after that loss to San Diego State.
Yeah, I've even got some really cool and nice things to say about Leon Rice and what he's doing right now. So, yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool weekend. And, man, every time you count Boise State basketball out here, they come charging hard. And, you know, since hitting rock bottom, Leon's done a nice job of really – he's done a nice job of kind of rescuing this season and salvaging this season, and he's doing it in different ways. So it's pretty cool to see a different star every night. That's kind of a fun, exciting storyline for Boise State basketball. Who's it going to be on Wednesday night?
Yeah, no doubt. And Wednesday's obviously a massive game. We'll get to that, but let's go back to the last two games, Mike. And as you said, last Monday, we're bringing up Leon Rice fatigue and this program and the future and all this. And then they go and beat the first place team, New Mexico, pretty handedly, and then go on the road and get a win, a quad one win in Reno. And I mean, don't look now, but Joe Lenardi now has elevated Boise State to the first four out of the tournament. Jerry Palm also has Boise State up there in the first four out, and that's with still Utah State, Colorado State games to move the needle coming on the schedule here. Just what do you make of the difference that a week can make here in terms of the big picture?
Well, it's certainly a good confidence builder for this basketball team, which needs to be playing pretty well going into this stretch run with 4 home games and then a very, very important tournament that's going to kind of seal their fate or decide their fate. And it's really good to see the confidence, especially as I said, in terms of different players stepping up every night. This team was not confident. This team was kind of a shell of its former self. When you see Leon Rice kind of sulking on the sideline, you know something is wrong. But we haven't seen that for a while, and now they're playing with all kinds of confidence. You know, I don't know about the NCAA tournament stuff. It doesn't really seem like this team is an at-large tournament team yet. Certainly they're getting there. I just want them to play well over those last 4 games. Get into into Vegas. So you got Reno on my mind all of a sudden. Get into Vegas playing very well. Have some confidence going into that semifinal game, and then get to the championship game and do some damage. So far so good. Knock on wood. Wednesday is going to be the big litmus test with this basketball team. Utah State's a very good team, but Boise State's got them at home.
Yep. And like I said last week, Mike Prater, just the bubble is so bad. I was trying to kind of paint this scenario. Did I say they'd win all 6? No. Am I saying right now they're in the tournament? No. That they're still not a tournament team, as you said, right now. But based on how bad the bubble is this year and what they had ahead, I said if they were to find a way to win all 6 games, I think they'd be a lot closer than maybe you or some others thought that they would be. And again, 4 big games to go, but 2 down, including 2 of the hardest ones. And on paper, on the KenPom metrics, whatever, the game at Nevada was a harder game than the game Wednesday against Utah State. In terms of the projections and things, they were projected to lose by 1 to Nevada. They're projected to win by 3 against Utah State. So, we'll see. But the 2 hardest games at home, Utah State, Colorado State, and then, at Fresno, who they're stuck in a gambling investigation now. They only have 7 players. We'll see what happens there. And then at Air Force, who only has, 1 conference win, I believe, 1 or 2 conference wins. So certainly these last 4 games are all winnable. We'll see what happens. But I think they're getting to the point now, Mike, where it is, I think it's fair to talk about the bracket and the at-large stuff. Again, they're not in it yet, but I think it's now fully okay and not crazy talk to at least say, root for some other teams to lose and they keep winning. I think they can, if they win out and they can win a game in the conference tournament, just with how bad this bubble is and now how high they've already been elevated by some of these guys to already be in the first 4 out now. I still think there's a real chance this team it'd be the happiest trip to Dayton of Leon Rice's life.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. That's kind of crazy to think, going to Dayton with a big old fat smile on your face. Let's avoid that, but let's hope it doesn't come to that. But if that's their only route into the NCAA tournament, they'll gladly take that, considering where they were a month ago. Talk to me a little bit, BJ. You just kind of gave me, and I think I know it, and I don't study the metrics like you do. When you say bad bubble, obviously that means after 55, 60 teams, there's a massive drop-off when it comes to NCAA tournament eligible type teams or NCAA worthy type teams. Is that just the case that there's just not a lot of depth in the college basketball world this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to study exactly why that is the case, but I mean, you're looking at teams, Boise State's right there listed next to, that are like 14-14. And like just teams that are just not like the North Carolinas of the world that have the name, maybe have a couple of good wins, but have 14 losses or have other stuff. So yeah, I think it's a combination of this year, there's just not as many good mid-majors either. And then a lot of those power conference teams just keep beating each other up, and all their records are not good and the resumes aren't necessarily great. So, this is the year they're talking about expanding the tournament. And a lot of people are saying, no, this is exactly why you don't expand the tournament. The bubble's terrible. Do you really want all these other teams in there? I'm always saying more basketball, more tournament, more games. I'm always for that, no matter how bad the basketball is. You'd rather watch another NCAA tournament game. That's a story for another talk. Yeah. But the last 2 weeks I've been watching this, and the teams that are right there listed as like flash 4 in, first 4 out, next 4 out are all just bad teams. Like the Wake Forest of the world. And you look at some of these records that some of these teams have, they're not good. And Boise State, you look at some of the metrics at where they sit, and they're just had a feeling if they could win these games, they want teams that are ascending and playing well down the stretch. And Boise State has now won 6 out of their last 7 games. Boise State has only lost 1 game since January at this point. And, if they can win these last 4 games, they'd be on a 6-game winning streak. They'd be 10 out of 11. They'd be ascending in the right direction and sitting there at, right now they're 19-8. I mean, you give them 23-8 in the regular season, you give them a game in the conference tournament, 24-9. I mean, a 24-win team on this bubble and again, the Mountain West still, maybe not Prater is highly regarded as last year. They're not going to get 6 teams in, but it's still the number 6th ranked conference at KenPom. It's still the 6th best conference overall. It's by far the top mid-major conference. And so I still think they're going to get some respect here. And the one difficult thing to watch here is one of the teams they might be battling for a spot is San Diego State, who beat them twice. And so they're one of the last 4 in right now for Joe Lunardi. So that's just a side story to watch in terms of that. But I also think the Clemson win, Clemson continues to win. St. Mary's continues to win. Both those wins are 2 of the best, non-conference wins in the conference. I know San Diego State beat Houston, and that's like the single best win. But in terms of 2 non-conference wins, you're not going to find too many bubble teams out there that have 2 non-conference wins against top 20 teams. And so it's way back when, you don't realize how big those wins are going to be. But beating Clemson helped. Beating St. Mary's certainly helped. And then they're getting a little late help here from Boston College. One of the worst teams in college basketball somehow has found a way to win their last 2 games by double digits. And the Boston College horrendous quad 4 loss has now moved to quad 3. And so that, is a minutia, type thing that doesn't really matter. But in terms of looking at a resume, Boise State now has no quad 4 losses. So they don't, quad 3 loss isn't good, but it's considered, bad. And then a quad 4 loss is considered awful. So it's not as bad. And that small stuff like that does matter when those teams meet, when the committee meets in Indianapolis in a couple of weeks to kind of look at the resumes, seeing no quad 4 losses, that does matter. So just a lot of little things are going in Boise State's favor. The teams they need to win, keep winning. The bubble, that was a quad 1 win again. 3 quad 1 wins doesn't sound like a lot, but for a mid-major team, it doesn't get a lot of opportunities. You can go tell people, hey, we went out and proved ourselves in the non-conference, played 2 of them, won them. Like I said, the teams they're battling for some of these spots just continue to lose. SMU lost again the other day. These teams on the bubble just continue to show that they want no part of this, and they usually want to take the teams that are ascending in the right direction, and Boise State, it seems like, certainly doing that. So they're not there yet. Work has to be done, but they had to win. They had to go 2-0 last week to kind of stay in the picture here, and they did. And so, by no means are they in. They probably have to run the table here to put themselves in position. And I think certainly the way they're playing right now and the fact that Wednesday's at home, like Wednesday becomes the game. Because if you win Wednesday, like I said, 2 easy road games and then Colorado State on senior night, I can't see them losing that game. They're favored, I think, by 7 right now at Ken Pom in that one. So Wednesday night, massive opportunity here. And I, like I said, crazier things have happened, but this is all trending in the right direction here for them to really make some sort of miracle late season run here to get in.
BJ, as you were saying all that stuff, I had a quick question in terms of the committee. You mentioned the committee. You mentioned, where they are right now. And if they do finish strong, let's say if they go 4-0 or even 3-1, and I think you can lock in 3-1 considering the schedule ahead. Utah State at home on Wednesday is kind of the pesky one. I'm not worried about a Colorado State at home or certainly that road trip with those 2 games. Does the NCAA committee, the 10 dudes in the room, do they still look at the last 10? At one point, that was a big factor. And I think at one point, they took that out of the criteria. And I think they may have put that back in. If Boise State is 9-1 or 8-2 or 10-1 over its last 10 games, whatever that number is, do they still look at that number? And is that still as powerful as it used to be? Because that could be a major, major tiebreaker, a major, major advantage for Boise State playing this well late in the season. Yeah, and I don't know if the you're right. It was like literally a thing that was on their team sheet at some point. I don't know if sorry, my computer was going off there. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know if they've officially put last 10 back on the sheet, but I mean, they can see on each team's sheet their full record and obviously see that they're playing well down the stretch. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a benefit either way if they've won 6 in a row and 10 out of 11, whether or not it's officially listed as last 10, as the 7 or 8 things on their list. I don't know the answer to that, Mike. You're right. At one point they did take it out because the first game should matter as much as the last, people would argue. And so I understand that part of it. But I do think, they've added like some other things in terms of wins above bubble and Bart Torvik. And I know they've in the last couple of years continued to adjust what shows up on these team sheets, but whether it's officially lists as last 10 and then your record, or whether they just have your, schedule on the paper, they can certainly see. And I certainly think a team that is winning down the stretch and ascending is going to be in a better spot than a team that continues to lose. Because if you're on the committee, you're like, okay, this team wants no part of this. They just had 8 games and went 4-4. These guys are winning. Again, got to win Wednesday. Wednesday is the massive game. Utah State, they played very well against them the first time, but I know I'm the eternal optimist on this show at times, Mike Prater, but I just, the way you looked at it with these last 6 games and how bad things were, I'm not really crazy that they're in the position they're in. They got a ways to go here. But for Joe Lunardi, and again, Joe Lunardi is not gospel. He's not God. He's not even considered one of the, premier bracketologists in terms of the
the actual rankings. He just gets the most publicity because he's on ESPN, and I understand that. But when he's pretty close in at least getting the teams right, maybe not necessarily the seeds. And when he has first 4 out, and you still got 4 games to go, I mean, it's just common sense. You win your last 4 games, and other teams continue to take losses, you're going to continue to slide up. I mean, from after the San Diego State game, I think they were the 9th team out, so they won 2 games this week and move up to the 4th team out. Work to be done, but I think at least that carrot that Leon Rice has been dangling in front of his players is getting a little bit closer, and I think it's only going to continue to motivate this team and this fan base moving forward here.
All right, then let's do this, BJ. That sounds great, and I'm buying everything you're saying. I'm buying right now, and a lot of times I do sell, but right now I'm buying everything you're saying about that basketball team, this basketball team in the scenario that it's in. It's very exciting to actually be relevant and to be into this kind of position going into March 1st. I want to get greedy now, though. If that's the case, I want to get greedy. I filled out my bracket last night. I filled out my first Mountain West tournament bracket last night. Boise State, and you know this probably off the top of your head before even filling out this bracket. Let's get Boise State to number 3. Number 3 not only puts you in the bottom half of that bracket, it gets you out of that 4 or 5 game, which could be San Diego State. That's a bad matchup. As the bracket sits here right now, just based on the way I did it, New Mexico and San Diego State are at the top half of the bracket. Those are 2 teams that are potentially bad matchups for Boise State, are certainly peskier than the others. The bottom half of the bracket seems a lot more friendlier. If somehow Boise State can finagle its way out of this number 5 seed, out of the number 4 seed, and get itself into a number 3 seed, is that a massive difference maker for this basketball team moving it forward into that Vegas tournament?
Let me know the status of Magoon Gwath first. He's the 7-footer for San Diego State. He got injured in the Utah State game the other night, did not come back in. They're going to have more information this week on that. They play New Mexico tomorrow night. That's a massive game for your bracket there in terms of the standings. New Mexico plays San Diego State. By the way, if you're a Boise State fan, I think you want New Mexico to go to win that, because if New Mexico loses at San Diego State tomorrow, that means that a Utah State win against Boise State would put them in a tie for first place. So okay. I think Utah State would be smelling blood in the water in terms of winning the league on Wednesday. If they see a door open by New Mexico losing the night before, they would be able to win and move into a tie for first place so I think you want to root for New Mexico, but also for your scenario there with the standings, you want to pass. They're tied right now, right, with 5 losses, Boise State and San Diego State?
Yes, sir. And obviously San Diego State would get the tiebreaker sitting right now, obviously.
So they need them to lose another. They need San Diego State to lose another game to move ahead of them. And that tomorrow night would be so. I think a perfect scenario tomorrow would be New Mexico winning at the pit or at San Diego State. So that's going to be, and I think Gwath's for sure out of that, which certainly helps New Mexico's chances. But you want to root for New Mexico tomorrow night if you're a Boise State fan. And then yes, you play Colorado State, who they've got. Are they at 4 losses right now? Are they 1 game ahead? And so
they are at 4 losses, 1 game ahead. Yes.
Yes. And so now I've got the conference standings up myself here. But so Colorado State is 12-4. They finished the season obviously at Boise. They have Utah State at home also. So very, very real scenario that Colorado State loses 2 more games and you can pass them as well. I would say selfishly the 3 seed is not ideal, Mike Prater, because those games Boise time start at like 9:30 at night.
Yes, at 9:30 Boise time. I did see that. If you stay,
that's the worst part about the 3 seed is it's the 4th game of the day on both Thursday and Friday. So it's like a 8:30 Vegas time, 9:30 start, which is not ideal. And then if you're in the championship, you play at 8:30 Vegas time, then turn around and play at 3:00 Vegas time on Saturday. That's a quick turnaround. But we'll see I agree with you. Like San Diego State is a terrible matchup, but if that's mostly because of Gwath. And if Gwath is out, I think Boise State potentially could beat San Diego State. I think Colorado State is a better matchup for them on a neutral court. I think Utah State is probably, I agree with you. New Mexico, I know they beat them here. Things went their way. I wouldn't feel, can they beat them? Sure. Would you feel great about it? No. So, you want to probably avoid them till the championship if you can. And as you said, you're getting greedy. Yeah, you win the conference tournament. You don't even have to worry about Dayton. Don't even have to worry about any of that. You win the conference tournament, you're sealed and delivered into the final 64, bracket, and don't have to. That's certainly getting greedy at this point. Yes, but in terms of the seeding, I agree. You want to get as high as you can. You're going to have to play these teams at some point anyway. So if you do have to play the San Diego State one would not be ideal. What would if you could get Colorado State in the 4 or 5, you wouldn't feel terrible about that, depending on what happens with how things shake out. But yeah, I think the 3 seed is certainly certainly in play here. And you look at Utah State. Utah State is 22-4 right now. They are 14-3, so they've got a 2-game edge on Boise State right now. And then Boise State, if they beat them, I'm trying to see if there's a way Boise State could still finish as the 2. Is there any chance, Mike Prater? I guess there is. If Utah State loses twice, but then Colorado State would only lose once more, so you'd have ties there. There'd be a whole convoluted 3 teams at 15-5, maybe, with Utah State, Colorado State, Boise State. I don't know how all that would shake out. I mean, the 2 seed is pretty similar to the 3 in terms of you just get a little earlier game. You get the 6:00 game instead of 8:30. And then obviously if you're the 2, you would play the 7. So you get theoretically a worse team in the quarterfinals. I don't know if UNLV, Nevada are all that different in the 6-7. I mean, there's clearly, Mike, as you can see in the standings, you have your top 5 and then it drops off. There's maybe that middle tier and then obviously the very bottom tier. But, I mean, is Kobe Sanders going for 30 again if you play Nevada? No. UNLV might be without Dedon Thomas, their point guard for the rest of the season. He's got a shoulder injury. So I don't feel super scary, super bad if Boise State had to play UNLV or Nevada. Like, which one would you rather play? It's probably similar. So I don't think the 2 versus 3 matters that much. I guess on Friday night, who'd be wearing the home uniforms, maybe if it's 2 versus 3. But overall, I agree with you. If you can get off the 4-5, great. Unless Guath's out, then I wouldn't feel quite as bad about playing San Diego State. The 4-5 also plays at like 2:30 on that first day. You get a little better time. And then you play at 6, I think. But, yeah, you'd have to play New Mexico Friday night in the semis. But I would just say for Boise State, if they can win these last 4 games and then avoid some terrible upset in the quarterfinals, if they got 25 wins and they get to the semifinals of the conference tournament, even if they lose to a Utah State or a New Mexico in the semifinals, we'll see what happens here. And obviously bid stealers, you don't want to root for a lot of bid stealers in terms of one bid conferences, other teams winning or whatever, but they're at least in the conversation, Mike, where it's made these last couple of weeks pretty interesting here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess the bigger picture is here, we know for sure that the Mountain West is going to be a 2-bid conference. We think they're going to be able to sneak in 3. I think that's fairly safe, if you ask me. Is there any possible way that they can get 4?
Ooh, that would be tough. That would be if that would have to be Boise State winning the Mountain West tournament, but then or they're the only other team probably that has any. I guess Colorado State, if Colorado State or Boise State, were to win the Mountain West tournament, as long as San Diego State doesn't, they'd be the one in danger. I think New Mexico and Utah State are solidly in the field right now. I think it would be San Diego State. I think they're going to be kind of quiet on this Guath injury because that does impact the NCAA tournament. The selection committee, if they know Guath's out, that certainly might deter them from taking it maybe because they're not the same team.
Sure.
We saw the Florida State situation with their quarterback for football a couple years ago. Like, it shouldn't matter, but it does. And so I'm guessing that Guath's not going to play for a little while, and you're going to hear San Diego State keep saying he's game time decision or keep saying he's close because they don't want to let it out that he's not going to play for a while. So that would be the one for me is I think Utah State and New Mexico are safe. San Diego State, can they win enough games here? Because, again, if they lose to New Mexico tomorrow night, does that drop them out? Do they stay in the Final 4 in? I don't know. And then so that's the one for me that's going to be – I think San Diego State has the pedigree, has the the cachet at this point that if they're on the bubble, they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. But we'll see. But I think 3 – I think they're going to get 3 and then maybe a 4th if somebody wins. But I don't know. Maybe they say, okay, Boise State, you ran the table and won it. We can't give you 4. Sorry, the Mountain West stinks this year. And maybe that bumps out San Diego State. I will – You never know with the committee. We thought last year Boise State and those teams were easily in the field, and New Mexico. We thought New Mexico was in for sure, and it turns out they wouldn't have been if they hadn't won the tournament. So, a lot. Yeah, I don't think 4. I think you're probably looking at 3, one way or the other, to be honest with you. And but again, when we were having this Monday, I guess it wasn't a Monday because that game was on a Wednesday, but they had that bye week, Mike Prater, and after that Colorado State game back on January 22nd. They lost to Colorado State. They had lost back-to-back games. They were 2-4 in their last 6 games. They were 13-7 overall, 5-4 in Mountain West play. Leon Rice called it, kind of rock bottom, but I'll give Alvaro Cardenas credit. Maybe he was just, the ultimate optimist, whatever, but he on the post-game show flat out told me, like, I came here to win, and that's still what we're going to do. We got a lot of games left. Like, we're going to figure this out. This is not how my senior year's ending. We're going to make a run here. And you fast forward literally 1 month. The game Saturday against Nevada was February 22nd. Literally 1 month to the day, they win for the 6th time in 7 games since, and they get, back-to-back, they get another road win after winning at UNLV during that stretch. They get back-to-back wins over, New Mexico, the first-place team, at Nevada. And like I said, Wednesday is kind of the game now that sets all this up, and it'll be all this discussion is a moot point if they don't win on Wednesday. But if they find a way to win Wednesday, they can win the rest of these games. And I told you, Mike Prater, the last decade, they've only gone into the conference tournament on more than a 1-game winning streak. One time, I think it was in the last like 13 years. So a lot of times when they flame out in the conference tournament, it's because they've lost the last regular season game, or they've kind of been losing some games down the stretch. It hasn't been since the year they won the league, really, where they've a couple of years ago when they won the conference tournament, where they've kind of been going and ascending at the right time. And so, they could be entering that conference tournament riding a massive momentum wave, which maybe could be the difference in terms of how they play down there in Vegas.
Yeah, and I think those last 3 games after Utah State on Saturday or on Wednesday night are almost no-brainers. And if they can pull off, that's a great point. If they can pull off that Utah State game and just keep that momentum going. And I crunched some numbers yesterday. Boise State offensively has a pretty good track record against all 4 of these teams, which are 4 of the worst defense. Colorado State's decent when it comes to scoring defense, but Air Force, Fresno State, and Utah State are in the bottom half of the conference when it comes to scoring defense. And Tyson Degenhart averages 21 points a game against these 4 opponents this year. Just in the 4 games that he's played against them earlier this year, he's averaging 21, including 22 against Utah State and 27 against Colorado State. So you throw in the history, the track record, you throw in the confidence, you throw in what's at stake. I love the fact that this is a senior-dominated team, too. And we said at the beginning of the season that Cardenas and Stanley and Tyson Degenhart were going to be the core of this basketball team. And it got squirrely really fast on this basketball team with the leadership and the senior stuff in the middle of the season and then toward the end of the season. But the seniors right now, that crew before is just really, really playing well. You can see Omar kind of starting to pop out of his shell a little bit. Cardenas is working his butt off. Tyson is his typical. And then here comes a different star every night as a complimentary star. So I think Leon Rice has to be very happy where he's sitting right now and very confident where he is. They can stress about that Utah State game, but I sense a big momentum game in Extra Mile Arena on Wednesday night. And if Boise State can pull that sucker off, I think it's full steam ahead. Let's go, baby.
Totally agree. And I do, after we take this break, I do want to get into that Nevada game and some of those, players that we're not used to stepping up, like you said, and the way that game was won on the defensive end by Javen Buchanan. But I will say about Utah State on Wednesday, like Boise State, yeah, they hit 14 threes against them the first time down in Logan. I get it. But they had that zone figured out, and they got a lot of open looks out of it, and they hit them. We'll see what adjustments Utah State makes, what Boise State makes. But the one thing that is in Boise State's favor is like when Boise State plays small and they've got, Tyson at the 5 or whatever, which they've been doing a lot lately. Utah State doesn't really have much of a post presence. Utah State's very guard heavy as well. So this is actually a decent match. I mean, they've got good players, good guards, but in terms of like a size matchup, they don't have an Nelly Jr. Joseph or a Magoon Guath or some dude down in the paint that's just going to dominate them because he's 6 inches taller than Tyson Degenhart and he's going to block 10 shots. Utah State doesn't really have that. They're very guard heavy as well. They don't have much of a presence on the interior. So from a size standpoint and a matchup standpoint, Utah State's actually a good matchup for Boise State. Boise State plays small. Utah State plays smaller. And so Tyson Degenhart's not going to have to worry about, like I said, guys blocking his shot like crazy in there on the interior. They size-wise, I think Boise State matches up pretty well with Utah State, and that may have been one of the reasons they played pretty well down there, in Logan. But and the crowd, yeah, we'll talk about that in a second as well. A lot of people in the chat are, really hoping it's a sellout type atmosphere. We'll see. I know it's an 8:30 on a Wednesday, but if you came to the New Mexico game, I think you had fun and you wouldn't mind coming back. And then if you watched the Nevada game and you're on the fence about this, I don't know why you wouldn't, with 2 home games left, find a way to, stay up a little late and make this happen. We'll discuss that in a second, Prater. I want to thank a couple sponsors here real quick. Ropaint.com, our title sponsor, ROEpaint.com. All your painting needs. Make sure you hit up our title sponsor, Andy Rowe and Company. They're coming out this afternoon, actually, to start a little drywall painting project for us. Can't wait to have that done. Ropaint.com, all your painting needs. Hit up our title sponsor, Ropaint.com. You looking for a job? Taco Bell is hiring, specifically the Treasure Valley Taco Bell locations, the SOM Management Group, the Nicolason family. We appreciate them. TacoBellWorks.com. You can get more information to apply for a job and find out about their charitable giving efforts and their the money they've committed, over $400,000 to student-athlete scholarships at Boise State for the men's and women's basketball program. So a great family. They're doing tremendous work here in the community. And check out Taco Bell and visit a Treasure Valley Taco Bell location today. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest, that mobile eBranch online banking right there in your smartphone. Hit them up, Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. The Rains family, happy we made the switch. Mike Prater's an ICCU customer. I know a lot of you that listen are. You may think you like your bank, you like the experience better at ICCU. I can guarantee it. Check them out online, ICCU.com. Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game, thespateam.com. Whether it's a pool table, a spa, a sauna, they got you covered. Locations in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. Been around since 1978. They're part of the Boise State home team. View all their options at thespateam.com. You need some Boise State jerseys, gear. I mean, we had Travis Hawks, Mike Prater, going at it with Richard Pitino at the end of the last game. Courtside there, we got, Matt Bauscher and company and fans getting kicked out. I mean, we need the atmosphere up again on Wednesday like it was last Wednesday, but go support the blueandorange.store.com. All your jerseys, caps, bumper stickers, car flags, all that good stuff. The blueandorangestore.com is your place to go. The blueandorangestore.com. You can order anywhere in the world online or just go to the Boise Town Square Mall, the second floor there next to Pro Image. Lithia Ford Boise, lithiafordboise.com. We appreciate them as well. Lithia Ford of Boise, you can view their full inventory online at lithiafordboise.com. And again, they have some new NIL deals, 3 female student athletes at Boise State. They've added some new football players. So they're stepping up in the NIL game. They're providing vehicles for some of the coaches, athletic department staff. Return the favor for your next car or truck purchase. Make it at Lithia Ford of Boise. And Prater, I hope you got your $2 hot dog and fountain drink on your way in today, or you can go get it for lunch. Jackson's, because the Broncos scored 70 points today, you get a hot dog and a fountain drink for $2. I think they throw in a banana as well when you use your Let's Go Rewards app. That is today at Jackson's. Any Treasure Valley Jackson's locations, a hot dog and a fountain drink, $2 at Jackson, since the Broncos got to 70 points in the win on Saturday against Nevada. So make sure you use your Let's Go Rewards app and hit up a Treasure Valley Jackson's location today. They also have the 99-cent coffee anytime, any place, or anytime, any day with your Let's Go Rewards app at Jackson's. All right, Mike Prater, you mentioned other guys stepping up. Javen Buchanan, one of those guys, 17 points, and I'll play it again here. I played it about 20 times on the postgame show. People kept wanting me to replay it. The defensive play of the game here, Sanders had 30 points. He's going to take the final shot here. 15 seconds left, the clock dwindling down. Javen Buchanan gets the poke, the steal. Cardenas finds Andrew Meadow for the dunk here. That puts him up by 3. But Leon Rice pointed out R.J. Keene right here. Kudos. Knowing to foul before they get the 3-point shot off. Just smart basketball instincts there with 4.9 seconds left. R.J. Keene gets the foul, so then that way they're not able to shoot the 3. And Boise State able to seal it with a free throw by Tyson Degenhart after they missed the free throw there. I know there was a last-second 3, I guess, that you always love being in a state that has gambling, or a city that has gambling, because that last-second 3 changed the over-under. And sure enough, there were some Nevada fans that were some audible gasps in the crowd when that 3-pointer went in, because it meant nothing for the final score of the game, but it did push the total over the total, I think, by a half a point or something. So it was certainly some folks that either had the over or the under there cheering that last 3 that meant nothing for the actual game. But you mentioned, Buchanan, 17 points, the defensive play of the game. Andrew Meadow steps up with 24 points, a career high for him. Tyson Degenhart only had 15 points, but in a game where, Pearson Carmichael goes 21 the other day, he only has 2 in this game, but obviously a nice sign to see some other guys stepping up.
I think it's really, really cool. And it does go back to Peanut last week. And it certainly goes back to Carmichael and Meadow, and then what Buchanan did. That was such a cool poke check. I love that. You and I are kind of hockey guys. That was Binnington-esque in terms of that beautiful little poke check right there. What a great defensive play. What a subtle defensive play to get there, and the execution. And then, Meadow to be aware of, to go for the fast break, and then RJ on the backside defense with that foul. That was bang, bang, bang. And he got it just at the right time. And that was a pretty cool execution of those last seconds. That's just a team. That's just a sign of a team playing with a lot of confidence right now, and a lot of different players playing and stepping up. And that's what I really like seeing here. So I know a lot of people give Leon crap this time of year for still juggling his starting lineup, and he's done 2 different starting lineups in his last 2 different games. His last 2 different games with Peanut in the lineup, he's switched it up again. I got no problem with it. This dude is scrapping and clawing and scratching. I think Leon Rice, and you know me, I love to poke Leon Rice. I love to look for the negative when it comes to Leon Rice. And I only say that mostly jokingly because I love Leon Rice, but he's a tough guy and he can take it. And there are flaws with his program that I like to show out there. But at the same time, I think he's doing, the last 10 days, the last 2 weeks, some of his best coaching ever. He's not just sitting by and idly standing around. Even though it's late March or late February heading into March, he's still tinkering. Some people think that that's a mistake. Some people, why is Leon Rice still I don't care. I don't care if it's January, November, October, March. He's still trying to find the right ingredients. And maybe that switches it up every single night and he gets a different result, especially with the depth and the layers of players coming off his bench right now. So I think Leon's doing a fantastic job of getting every single ounce of energy he can out of this basketball team and trying to get their head right moving into the conference tournament. So kudos to Leon and kudos to his players for coming through, even if it's something small. I've been beating up RJ Keene all season long. Why is he starting? And it has nothing to do with him being a smart basketball player, a good basketball player, a basketball player that brings a lot of energy and a lot of intangibles like rebounding. And just little things like that, little plays like that help you win basketball games. And this basketball team, 8, 9, 10 deep, is taking care of business right now. And I think Leon's pushing all the right buttons, and he should get credit for that. People should start beating him up because he is still tinkering. Keep tinkering. Tinker all the way into the NCAA tournament. I don't care. Just do what you can to get this team playing as best as it can. And right now it seems like it is playing the best that it can.
Speaking of hockey, Mike Prater, plus minus, I know isn't the end all be all in basketball because there's a lot of things that happen. There's 5 guys on the court. I get it. But I do think over time, when you're out there and your team's doing good things, that comes to light. And by far, over double anybody else on the team, the best plus minus on Saturday against Nevada, +9. When you win by 1 is a big deal. +9 was RJ Keene. The next best guy was only +4, Alvaro Cardenas. But RJ Keene +9. When he was out there, he was making winning plays. He hit that corner 3. He had a couple other, nice plays as well. So I thought RJ Keene continues to, in 28 minutes was a +9, had 9 rebounds again, 3 assists. So, yeah, he's maybe not going to score a ton of points. He was 1 for 3. He at least took a few more 3-point attempts in that game, which was good to see. But I thought Keene, again, played well. But Javen Buchanan, he's been an up and down guy. And, his up at times, his minutes have gone down, maybe in place of a guy like Carmichael the last game. And Buchanan, it was his turn. And he goes 3 for 3 from 3-point range, 7 of 9. And a couple of his buckets were kind of not buckets at the time that you really think much about. But I remember one was right after that huge posterized dunk that Kobe Sanders had, and the crowd was going crazy. Well, 5 seconds later, Buchanan just puts in a little baseline jumper and quiets the crowd, and you just go back to the other end. And so I think that some of his buckets just came at huge points in the game. And Andrew Meadow, I don't want to say it's been a disappointing season for him. He's certainly played well and averaging double figures, but his 3-point percentage has not been great. It's low 30%. He hasn't shot the ball, I think, the way Boise State knows he can and the way he shoots in practice. So maybe he's got a lot of, positive shots coming. But for him to be aggressive, kind of having some fadeaways in the lane there and really being aggressive, getting 13 shots. I mean, I know free throws change things, but Andrew Meadow took a team-high 13 shots in that game. And I don't think going into the game you would have thought Andrew Meadow would be probably first, second, or third in terms of who's going to take the most shots in this game, but he was making them. He stayed aggressive, and it worked out. And if you're getting Andrew Meadow producing in double figures on a nightly basis, and you're getting Javen Buchanan, and then the occasional, whether it's Stanley, Carmichael, or somebody is that 5th option to step up, and Degenhardt and Cardenas doing what he does. I mean, ho-hum, you look up at the end of the game, there's 9 more assists for Alvaro Cardenas. Like you said, Leon got a lot of people, well, why are you playing so many guys? Oh, how are you at this point in the season? You don't know your rotation, all this kind of stuff. It's, the Leon Rice trademarks is January's kind of been the month where they have this great month, and then it kind of starts going down towards the end sometimes if guys are overworked or overused or whatever. It took them a little longer to figure this out, Mike, but maybe they're ascending at the right time here in terms of just the lineup starting to click, the lineup starting to gel. He really has shortened the rotation even more. I mean, you had Degenhardt 33 minutes, Cardenas 39, Meadow 34. I bet you that's the first time this season, maybe or in a while, they've had 3 guys over 33 minutes, but 29 for Buchanan, 28 for Keene, and then you sprinkle in 11 for Carmichael, 17 for Stanley, 5 for Ugbo, and 4 for Bowie. So they really had 9 guys played, but 2 played 5 and 4 minutes. So it really went down to seven guys for the majority of that game. And so you know what? Maybe those guys got their rest earlier in the season, and now we can kind of go to the whip here on the final turn. And now it is the time to kind of ride your 7 or 8 guys from here on out. And it looks like that's what he's doing. And to this point that, they've won 6 out of 7 games. And it seems like I said at the right time, it's kind of going in the right direction here.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Now, the one thing you have to guard against is the step back. And that's what Leon Rice's programs also do this time of year. I hope they compete hard. I don't really care if they lose to Utah State. I mean, I would like to see them win it and keep this momentum going. We just talked about what that sets them up for as we go down to the end of March or the end of February. But, I just want him to play well. I think that it was a 2-point game in Logan. And if they can just keep that competitive and keep that confidence going, I got no problem. I think he's got the right 9 guys. I don't think even though I just said I like him still tinkering, I don't think I want him tinkering with the starting lineup anymore. I like Peanut starting in this game instead of coming off the bench for the rest of the season. He's going to be an up and down guy. He's a true freshman, guys. He's going to have big games like he did last week. He's going to have average games like he did over the weekend. That's going to be an inconsistent factor, and you just hope that the lows aren't too low, because I like the chemistry of what he's got with the starting 5. I like the chemistry of what he's bringing off the bench. I think back to your point, I think he's done a good job of managing the energy going into March, and I think he's going to be a lot more rested. I know you brought that up in a press conference with Leon last week in terms of all this juggling has to make it so you're not exhausted on March 1st. This team's not going to be exhausted on March 1st. I think they're in good shape physically. They look strong. They look dominant still, and they can go out there and play with a lot of fire. And that's what's going on here. The 9-player depth is perfect. The starting lineup is perfect. You just have to kind of execute it at this point. And it's good to see that everybody on this basketball team is chipping in a little bit here and a little bit there. Meadow has been such a defensive liability. And then when he disappears offensively, you have to wonder about him. I thought he had some great energy on defense. I want to give him some credit for that, because he can be a step slow and it drive you crazy a little bit on defense. But in Nevada, I thought he was good there, and offensively he was spectacular. So just keep the sucker going, man. And I want to see some positive energy coming out of Wednesday night at the X.
And I know we've talked about this. I think it was last Monday, or I forget when it was, Mike, but we have talked about the crowds and the energy at the X and what that's going to be like. And I thought the New Mexico game was certainly better than it's been. 8:00 game on a Wednesday. They announced over 10,000, but I think a little birdie told me the actual attendance was like in the 6,000s in terms of how many actually showed up. There were a lot of empty seats. When they're standing up, it's a little harder to tell, but when they're sitting down, especially when they showed it on TV, when I went back and rewatched the game, the blue seats in particular, you could just see a ton of empty seats in that New Mexico game. I understand it's 8:30. It's a Wednesday, but what's just your initial thought, the momentum of these two games, the feeling? I mean, we had a record viewership on the post-game show. We've got, for a Monday morning talking basketball, really, really good viewership right now, on YouTube and on social media. A lot of comments in the chat. People seem fired up right now and realize kind of what's at stake on Wednesday. I mean, I know there's more to it than this, Mike, but a strong crowd really could directly impact on Wednesday whether or not Boise State can win this game and whether or not they can get to the NCAA tournament here on Wednesday if they can get a big crowd. What's your first thought on whether or not the fans will respond on Wednesday?
Yeah, they're still going to be. I mean, I went on the website yesterday because I bought some tickets for my family. So, I'm on board when Prater starts spending his own cash for games. People are kind of engaged and fired up, and they
not asking for freebies. Come on, Prater.
No, I actually went in and paid. I actually went in and bought tickets. So they do have that nice 2-pack buy promotion, and that makes it really, really affordable. They're going to have
you a booster, Prater. You bought tickets. We can now call Mike Prater a BSU booster here.
It's not the first time I've actually bought tickets, but I did buy them this weekend. I even bought them for Colorado State. So the Prater family is locked in and good to go. They're going to have instead of 6,000 to 8,000, they're going to have 8,000 to 10,000. And I'm not going to, and I know you're past this at this point. I'm not going to beat people up for 2,000 empty seats. I'm working on a column that you and I talked last week about the lifetime seats and how they're going to fix that. That's not going away. But that if they can get 6,000 to 8,000 in there, the hardcores on an 8:30, 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night, that place is going to be loud just as long as Boise State comes through on its end and makes this a competitive game like it was in Logan. 6,000 people can sound like 10,000 people. 8,000 people can sound like 12,000 people. They're never going to fill every one of those empty seats, and it's always going to be a problem. But I think the energy is going to be just fine. I think the crowd's just going to be fine. If they can push 10,000 plus actual butts in the seats and not an attendance number, that's even better. So looking forward to that. And I think Wednesday night's going to be an unbelievable celebration. And then we'll get another one next Friday night. You can't worry about the complaint on the late time on the next Friday night either against Colorado State. So 2 more home games, 2 games to watch Tyson Degenhart. I know you've talked about the potential for an NIT, and it sounds like that they're trying to use plan B just in case something happens, but let's hope that they never have to come back here. I want to see Boise State play 2 more home games and then leave town and come back and do some magical things out there on the road. So we'll see how it plays out, but Tyson Degenhart, 2 more games.
Yeah, and I think if they win tomorrow and go take care of the road, that senior night against Colorado State could be an all-time extra mile arena night. I mean, I would assume for sure that one would sell out. And it's a Friday night. It's also 8, not 8:30. So a Friday night at 8, there's really no excuses for students or anybody for that one. And if they are on a 5-game winning streak and trying to maybe cement, I mean, that might be I don't know. That might be a court storming type game for the fans. I don't know. Just to have a chance to maybe lock up. I don't know that for next Friday against Colorado. And I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying I think they've had some senior nights where they've done that before. But yeah, I think Wednesday will be awesome. But if they win Wednesday, I think that next Friday would be an all-timer here in terms of what it could be for the final home game of Tyson Degenhart's career and what that game could mean for this program and for the tournament and all that. Tyree says, I hope it's sold out. The extra mile chaos of the past few years shows up. BSU Bill, if the student section doesn't show, that would be pathetic. Bunch of us have jobs, families, etc. We'll be there. Students have no excuse. I do get a sense on this chat though, Mike, and like on the post-game show too, like we'll see what it translates to, but I think people are bought in right now. I mean, and it's hard not to be after the last 2 games with what they've done. If you're a fan, even a fringe fan, I mean, this is what you want, right? To have meaningful games the last couple weeks of the season. You have a NCAA tournament team coming into your building here in a big game. I think that there's a lot of reasons if you're a fan to be excited, and I get it. I got young kids too. If it were a 7:00 game, I might be talking to my wife about them coming. 8:30, I understand it. It's a little bit tougher, but the big thing I don't understand is like, okay, you can't go. That's great, but give your tickets to somebody that will. Like, I don't know how. I mean, there's thousands of tickets that go sold that just don't get used. I don't understand. I mean, you mentioned the lifetime seats. I think when we had Jeremiah Dickey on last week, he said that it counts like 600 tickets or something. I don't know the exact number. I know you're going to work on that for your column. But there are a lot more seats that are sold, like thousands, 2,000 to 3,000 seats that are sold that just don't get used. And I don't understand that part of it. We'll give them away to somebody that'll come. We'll see. As Toad King says, as you brought up, if BSU wants the 3 seed, they need San Diego State to lose to New Mexico, and then Boise State beats Colorado State and CSU. He says if Utah State beats Colorado State, that would put them at 15-5. CSU and San Diego State would be 14-6. So the math is there. The math is there, Prater, for this 3 seed. And like you said, though, it's riding high right now, but, got to win on Wednesday or it's all kind of a moot point here.
Yeah, and you said have the fans bought in, and they definitely have bought in. Prater is bought in. If Prater is bought in, a lot of fans are bought in.
That's a scary point. When Prater's bought in, they're usually due for a big letdown, in the next game or two.
Well, that's where I was going to go. You can't feed the beast. You can't feed Prater what he wants, and Prater's always hungry for juicy, sexy news. And they've got to win on Wednesday. They can't take the step back again. If they lose and they're competitive and Utah State's just a better team, I can live with that because I don't think that's going to be a fatal loss with this basketball team. A victory would certainly be a big old fat cherry on the top of what they've been doing so far, and I think they can win these last 3 games. They don't intimidate me at all. So, yeah, I'm bought in. I'm excited. I'm fired up. I believe what this team is doing right now, but I also realize a month ago they were at rock bottom. I also realize that there's 15 years of history here where they do limp into March, and I'm not taking that lightly. And I'm just hoping for something a little bit different here. And I've sensed it in the last couple of weeks, just based on what this team is doing. I love the different individual contributions. That's the biggest factor for me. This is truly a team effort of a whole bunch of dudes picking up the slack and taking care of business, and I really like the way they're playing. So, but I go into Wednesday night just a little bit skeptical, maybe back on one half of a heel and hoping that they can take care of business on Wednesday, and I think that they will. But if they don't, let's see how they play, and let's see how they respond over those final 3 weeks or final 3 games.
Mike Prater, I'll keep this thing going, but I got one more quick one for Mike Prater. I know you're working on a column on Ashton Genty. The NFL Combine is coming up here in the very near future. What's a preview of the column and what folks can expect in the next 24 hours or so at Bronco Nation News?
Yeah, doing something. Yeah, Combine starts Thursday, guys. Hassanin and Genty. Hassanin goes on Thursday. Genty's going to go on Saturday. We'll get you some specific times and get you set up for the week. I've been talking to Ashton Genty's agent, trying to figure out his schedule, if he's going to do all the workouts. I think Ashton Genty is going to attack this combine just aggressively like he does a football season, and he's going to go out there and do as many things as he possibly can and run all the workouts, do all the workouts, be a big rock star, and do what he can. So 329 athletes at the combine, 31 running backs. It's one of the deepest running back classes in the history of the NFL draft. That's going to play into the Ashton Genty's going to go first, so it really doesn't impact him. But if you're looking at guys like the Cowboys taking him at 12, well, maybe the Cowboys come back later on in the second round because there's going to be a whole bunch of great running backs. All this process starts this week with the combine and taking a look at that. Next week, we're going to do something on the Lifetime Achievement Awards or the Lifetime Seats at the X, and try to figure out that problem going into the last home game of the season. And we'll see how it plays after that.
Yeah, looking forward to that. What do we got, Idaho? I know you haven't had your meeting yet, so maybe I'm putting you on the spot here, but a Monday edition of Idaho Sports Talk, 3 o'clock today. You and Johnny and Bob, what can folks look forward to?
Yeah, we're looking at a lot of conversations about basketball as well, and taking care of that. We're keeping a close eye on Kellen Moore. We're going to talk about the combine. We got our most important 15-player series going on. I believe we got Nate Potter coming in the studio sometime this week to kind of talk about not only his experience at the combine. He was part of Boise State's greatest combine class ever. It's historic. It's amazing. When Nate Potter went to the combine, holy cow, they could do a movie on that combine. So we're going to talk about his combine experience, the new offensive coordinator. So pretty big week, but like you, BJ, it's all about basketball. It's all about Wednesday night against Utah State.
As Bronco 130 says, Mike, does it feel weird with JP gone? First show today without JP, unfortunately.
No, we're good. We're good. I like change. I like moving forward, and ball game, and myself and Bob, we're all fired up and we're all excited, and we got lots of cool things planned. It's a little different, but full steam ahead here at Idaho Sports Talk.
Well, best of luck to JP again moving forward. And, yeah, looking forward to continued listening 3 to 6, Idaho Sports Talk. Bob, Johnny, Prater, the whole crew. And again, 3 o'clock today. We're actually going down at 1 o'clock to talk to Leon and some players. So I know you guys may have some sound on that or in the next couple of days on the shows as well. Mike, appreciate you as always. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to keep this thing going a little bit. We got a lot of comments, a lot of viewership, and I got nowhere to be right now. So we'll let you roll, Mike, but appreciate you as always, man. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, BJ. Have a good one. Appreciate it.
Man. There he is, Mike Prater. Appreciate him as always for jumping on here on Idaho. You can hear him on Idaho Sports Talk 3 to 6 every day, and here on Bronco Nation News. If you got any other comments or thoughts, we'll keep it rolling for a little bit. Want to thank Bousher Real Estate, #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley, Matt Bousher and Bousher Real Estate. We pick our Bousher Real Estate player of the game after every Boise State basketball game. #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley, and doesn't matter how big or small your home is. If you're trying to buy, sell, doesn't matter. All your real estate needs, hit up Matt Bousher at Bousher Real Estate. Hey, Ridley's Family Markets. Shop Ridleys.com. 13 locations in the state of Idaho, surrounding states. If you are looking to just get that hometown feel when you go in a grocery store and have a friendly staff and environment and some great deals, hit up Ridley's Family Markets. The Cuna location is a good one. Middleton Star, a lot of Treasure Valley, Magic Valley, beyond. Ridley's Family Markets. Find one near you at shopridleys.com. Transportation compliance service. If you're looking to get into the trucking industry, they can help you out every step of the way. Transcompservice.com, 866-813-7620. They're a local company helping folks all over the world. DOT, overweight, all the permits and things you need to get out there towing that first load in no time. Hit them up, transcompservice.com. Lean Feast, leanfeastmeridian.com, 10,000 plus combinations, chicken, steak, fish, shrimp, you name it. All the various diets, fully customizable. It's done by the ounce and the weight, and it's fresh, not frozen. It's good for 5 days in your refrigerator. 2 minutes in the microwave is all it takes. Order online, have it delivered anywhere in the Treasure Valley. Lean Feast Meridian, highly recommend it. Rain's family's loving it. leanfeastmeridian.com. We do have a voicemail that came in earlier, but I forgot to put it in the system. Mark Carringer, we will play that tomorrow with Jay Tust. Speakpipe.com/BNN. If you have a voicemail for us, speakpipe.com/BNN. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play those on the show. And then every couple of weeks, we'll raffle off a gift card to the Blue and Orange store for folks that left us a voicemail. Signature Roofing is the sponsor, covering our community for more than 2 decades, whether it's a re-roof, a repair, an estimate, an inspection. It's all brought to you by mysignatureroofing.com. All your roofing needs, they can take care of you at Signature Roofing, mysignatureroofing.com. All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh, I want to mention the golf tournament. We only have 7 foursomes left. If you're interested in playing in the Bronco Nation News golf tournament, we only have 7 fivesomes left. We are doing fivesomes this year, not foursomes. Fivesomes, it's $800 for a fivesome. That's $160 a person. Included in the golf tournament is a happy hour the night before with Spencer Danielson, other coaches, hopefully Leon Rice. We're like last year. And we're going to have a little Q&A with the coaches, exclusive, event here. And it's part of the golf tournament. We're raising money for the Idaho Youth Sports Commission. If you want to get some buddies together on May 30th at Timberstone, we have one flight. Tees off at 9 a.m. on Friday the 30th at Timberstone. We appreciate rowpaint.com, ICCU, all of our great sponsors. I know Atkinson's Mirror and Glass is already committed to a foursome. Coca-Cola has committed as well. And I keep saying foursome because that's what I'm used to, but we are going with fivesomes this year. So if you want to play, hang out with some of your favorite coaches, players, Coach Rice, a lot of the basketball coaches, Coach Burns, Coach Moats, they're out there playing in this tournament. We'll get some of the players out there as well. And if you want to hang out with your favorite coaches, nice, beautiful day on the golf course with your buddies. You get some drinks, some food. It's a very fun time. You get some free swag in terms of golf balls and golf towels and all kinds of different stuff that we give out every year. And so helps a good cause. It's just a fun day on the course. And if you want to get in, we have 7 fivesomes left. We're nearing a sellout already. And again, that includes the night before on the 29th, a happy hour event where you get to hear a Q&A with some of the coaches and mingle and have a good time. And we'll have some of the football players from Lithia Ford there on NIL deals there at the event the night before. So a lot of cool stuff in the works. Our 4th annual, hard to believe, already the 4th year in a row for the Bronco Nation News Golf Tournament. But if you want in, email me, rains@bronconationnews.com. Rains@bronconationnews.com is my email. You can also go to bronconationnews.com/golf. You see the website there in the upper corner of the screen. That'll give you more information. And again, if you want in, we got some whole sponsorships left. That's the easiest way. Get a whole sponsorship for your business. And that's the easiest way to get a fivesome as well. And before we sell out, we're saving a couple for some businesses. And so looking forward to it. May 30th, Timberstone Golf Course. Hit me up, rains@bronconationnews.com, and we'll help you out and get you situated there. All right, let's head back to the let's go back to the comments here. How does Andy Katz have Boise State at 33rd? I don't know the answer to that. Haven't looked into that. I see what you're saying. He's not complaining, just doesn't feel that line. I think his is more kind of how you're playing right now. And if you do look at the Bart Torvik metrics for the last month, Boise State is playing at basically a top 25 level. If you just go, you can kind of sort the data from the day after they lost to Colorado State to now, and Boise State is playing at a near top 25 level. So if that's the case, to say they're the 33rd team right now, I don't think it's crazy. I mean, I don't know if he's going more on resume or right now or what. That probably impacts that. We will be at the game on Wednesday. Everyone on our feet, tired of the golf crowd. Let's get a couple more people ejected. I mean, that energy last week was awesome to have people yelling at the other team's coach and getting into it with them. And then you had, courtside fan, getting ejected. That energy was great. And I know it's 8:30. I know it's not ideal. That the students are the one for me. Like, what are you doing at 8:30? Walk over and go to the game. Like, the student section should be packed. I think it will be. Maybe I'm naive and I'm reading this wrong, but based on you guys in the chat and your comments and what I've seen on social media, I think this game's got a chance to be a big time crowd. Do they get it to a sellout? I don't quite know. But I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, if you're literally a Boise State fan, like, you're a Boise State fan, you go to games like this is what you want. You want a game against a team in the tournament where if you win, you've got a great chance to go to the tournament. Like, this is literally, you wait all season for a game like Wednesday. It is the game where if you help impact the game, and if they find a way to win this game, there's a real chance they could be in March Madness because of the atmosphere on Wednesday night. Like, I hate to say it's like that, but I mean, the two go hand in hand together. Wednesday night against Utah State, if Boise State wins, they will have a pretty decent chance to run the table and get in the NCAA tournament. And how do you help a team win at home? You have a big crowd. And so I think the crowd can directly affect the game and the outcome on Wednesday. And I do still have my bottle of water here, by the way, the Tears of Leon water that they passed out at Utah State, fresh salt water. And I've got some other kind of funny, let's see what else here. It's vegan and free of sugar, sweeteners, success, gluten, and nepotism. Then it says, finally, learn more about Boise's NCAA tournament win-free program at broncosports.com. I give them credit. It was kind of clever, but I may have to bring this along on Wednesday. Maybe see if Coach Rice wants to take a refreshing drink if they win the game in the post-game press conference there on Wednesday. But massive game on Wednesday, and a lot of reasons if you're a fan. Like I said, literally, if you're a fan, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to go to this game. I get it. Like, tough it up. You know what? Tough it up. It's one night where you get a little less sleep. Like, it is what it is. And I agree with the people that said, don't just show up. Like, Joey Jenkins, love him, great guy, but he should not be basically having to almost beg fans to stand up before tip-off. Like, when the intro starts, fans should be standing, and they should be standing all the way through the jock jams and all the way through the through tip-off. Like, you shouldn't need Joey Jenkins like begging people to stand up for a game like this. Like, the energy should be high. It should be an all-time game at Extra Mile Arena on Wednesday. And it's a game that, like I said, you win this game, I think there's a real path to getting in the NCAA tournament. And if you're a Boise State fan, like, isn't that what you want? Don't you want games where everything is on the line, and a game where you can help impact whether or not your team goes to the tournament, and a game against another tournament team? Like, if you're ever going to go to a game all season, like, this should be the one you want to go to, even if it starts at midnight. Like, it shouldn't matter. Like, this should be the game. And so these last two home games both really should be sellouts, and we'll see what kind of marketing push they make here, and we'll see what the tickets end up being. But I've got faith. I don't know why, but I weirdly believe it's going to be an awesome atmosphere Wednesday. I believe the fans are going to respond and show, because if you don't show up for this one, when would you ever show up, to be honest? It just doesn't make sense. And if you have tickets, give them to somebody else. So Ray says everyone in here will be there. I mean, Ray, you were the one, I believe, a couple of games ago saying nobody would show up against New Mexico. The teams, they're coming off some losses. And I would say you were mostly right. I mean, they did have a pretty good crowd, and the ones that showed up were loud. It was as loud in there as it's been all season, but I think it could still be so much better here moving forward. And we'll see. But I have faith. I believe they are going to show up, and I think there's a real opportunity here for this team to win this game and make a run. I mean, if again, Joe Lenardi is not the end all be all. He's actually not one of the higher ranked bracketologists, but he at least knows, in terms of the teams, he's usually pretty close on the teams. And so when he's got you as now in the first four out, like, that's a real deal. And they're not going to move the needle against Air Force or Fresno unless other teams lose. So the two opportunities you have to move the needle are Wednesday and then against Colorado State on senior night, and really Wednesday tomorrow is your one real chance to make one more kind of big statement before the conference tournament. So massive game Wednesday. Hope the crowd shows up. I really do think they will, and excited for that. And I think they're going to have that music turned up a little more and have that place rocking. And I think it's going to be a fun atmosphere, 8:30 on a Wednesday night. Utah State will bring some fans. They usually drive up and have a pretty good little crowd there behind the games. So students are the tip of the spear. If they show up, the whole arena will follow suit. So yeah, we'll see what the marketing department has in store in terms of getting them to show up. And I saw somebody mention orange rally towels. Yeah, if they had some sort of 12,000 t-shirts they passed out for a real whiteout, because whenever they do one in the stands, no one seems to do it. Or if they did have rally towels, they could pass out throughout the arena. The blue rally towels don't really do it for me. They blend in too much with people in the seats and stuff. They need to be white, I think, but orange wouldn't be terrible either. But I would say white rally towels would be the best in terms of just making it most noticeable. But yeah, who knows? Something like that would be great. I doubt on this short of notice they can do that, but should be awesome Wednesday. A lot of momentum right now with the program. Nathan Carroll does have an article that I'll be posting as soon as this show is over. So we'll get Nathan Carroll's article up, reviewing the win over Nevada, looking at the game against Utah State on Wednesday. And as I said, I do think the bracket the matchup is kind of nice for Boise State in terms of being a similar team, similar size. Not a lot of size on Utah State. They're more of a smaller team, which kind of matches up nicely with Boise State from the guard perspective. So we'll have a couple days to really break that game down and some of the matchups. Jay Tust will join me tomorrow. We'll obviously have a Wednesday game day edition as well. So a lot to get to the next couple days. And like I said, you can read Nathan Carroll's article right when the show ends. I'll post that. Mike Prater is going to have a column coming up on Ashton Genty and the Combine. So we got you covered, football, basketball, and all that good stuff at BroncoNationNews.com. Please subscribe if you can. You want to read Nathan Carroll, you want to read Mike Prater, $50 for a full year at BroncoNationNews.com is all it costs. We'd love to have you. We were there in Reno on Saturday. Other than Bob and Abe, the only outlet that made the trip to Reno. We'd love to have your support. Help us out if you can, and help us, continue to travel on the road and cover all these games and give you these kind of shows that you deserve. An hour and 4 minute and counting show here on YouTube, and it's thanks to your $50 subscription. You get a daily email. You get some exclusive content, a lot of great stuff. We'd love to have it. One-time fee, $50. Just use that promo code BNN50deal at BroncoNationNews.com. And, support the sponsors as well. Jackson's, Taco Bell, some of the ones you see behind us, all of our major sponsors that make this thing, go around. Please support the sponsors. Tell them you're supporting them because of BNN. I know the Atkinsons are down there for a conference staying at Circa this week. Really appreciate them and appreciative of that. So just excited for the next couple of weeks here. Should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to the Mountain West Tournament. If you are going to Vegas, speaking of Circa, we have some promo codes for you. We're looking to do some sort of pool party event as well. We're trying to line up the dates and times, but make plans to join us at Circa. If you'd like the promo codes for discounted rooms at both Circa and the D, please email me and reach out to me. We do have discounted rates, and they're pretty affordable, all things considered, for a nice place like Circa for the Mountain West Tournament, but those are going fast. So hit me up, and I'll send you out the links for Circa and the D for the Mountain West Tournament here in a couple of weeks. So appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching the show today. Go support the sponsors. Go subscribe. Tell your friends. Retweet this video. Share it. Turn on your notifications on YouTube, by the way. After you subscribe to YouTube, turn on your notifications, and then you'll get notified when we go live moving forward here. But help us out. Give us a subscription on YouTube. Subscribe to the website. Support the sponsors, and go read Nathan Carroll's article, Mike Prater's article later today. But tomorrow, 9 a.m., Jay Tust and I, and we are going to talk to Leon and a couple players this afternoon, so you can go check our YouTube channel later this afternoon. We'll get those posted as well. But thanks so much. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. Wednesday night, can't wait, and we'll have you covered on Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com throughout the next couple of days. And, excited for what's ahead here. And, of course, we're covering it all. Bronco Nation News, a blue and orange store Monday. Make sure you hit up the blue and orange store for all your Boise State gear. BlueandOrangeStore.com. You can order anywhere in the world. And we appreciate the Blue and Orange Store, our Monday sponsor here on Bronco Nation News. The BlueandOrangeStore.com, or just go to the Boise Town Square Mall there, the second floor next to Pro Image. And, of course, our title sponsor is RowPaint.com. All your painting needs, whether it's concrete coatings for your garage, your back patio, interior, exterior painting, all that good stuff. If you're a business, they got some great deals going on right now for commercial, industrial painting. RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. Our title sponsor. We're so appreciative of them. So thanks again, guys, from the Western Collective Studios. Hope you enjoyed a few Horseshoe Golden Ales over the weekend. Orange Chaos Seltzers, perfect time for that to celebrate the win on Saturday. They'll be flowing plenty, I'm sure, on Wednesday night at Extra Mile Arena. Jay Tust and I will talk to you at 9 a.m. Check the website, go subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bronco Nation News live at BroncoNationNews.com.
Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, RowPaint.com. Our major sponsors, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, Lithia Ford, the Blue and Orange Store, Jackson's, and our contributing sponsors, Signature Roofing, Western Collective, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Boucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and Timberstone Golf Course.